Let's run through the markets in West Africa for you. Pretty good day all through, starting with the BRVM. The BRVM 10 index closed trading yesterday at 231 points. That was up 1.25%, while the BRVM composite also gained about 0.9%, closing at 207 points. Total value traded on the day was 350 million CFA francs, while the currency is at 509 CFA to the US dollar. And moving on to Ghana, a lot less gains there. The GSE composite index closed at 1,887 points. That's up just 0.2%, while the financial stock index was also up on the day, about 0.2% as well, closing at 1,606 points. And the currency, the cedi trading at 2.02 cedi to the US dollar, so slight gains for the currency. And moving on to Nigeria, the NSE All Share Index, very positive day for that market. The index closing at 36,509 points, up 1.5%. Activity, however, fell in terms of value traded to 2.3 billion naira. The gainers on the day included Champion Breweries, Portland Paints, DN Mia, and UBA Capital. Let's now cross to Stanbic IBTC, where Muyiwa Oni is standing by to give us his thoughts. Muyiwa, it's good to have you on the show. Hello, Muyiwa, can you hear me? All right, unfortunately, we're having a challenge with that line. Hopefully, we get it fixed in a little bit. And I think the big story in the market is the volatility we've seen recently, and while we're trying to get that line back up, I can just talk you through that. Like I mentioned, the market is up 1.5% yesterday, but over the last couple of weeks, we have seen it trade within a range, and it's fell back from the 40,000 marks about 3 weeks ago, and it's still struggling to get back to those levels. A lot of people pointing to valuations these days, particularly for the non-bank non-financial companies. A lot of people saying the likes of Nestle Nigeria, Guinness Nigeria, Nigerian breweries, some of the large caps on the market are overvalued, and they are way overdue for a correction. All right, let's see if we can get that line to Muyiwa and Muyiwa Oni at Stanbic IBTC to give us his thoughts on the market. Muyiwa, can you hear me now? All right, still a challenge getting through to Muyiwa, and hopefully we can get that line back in a little bit. All right, let's try again. Muyiwa, can you hear me now? All right, still a small challenge with that line. Well, let's try again. Hopefully, we can get that line to Muyiwa now. Muyiwa, can you hear me? All right, big challenge with that line today. Clearly, the Gremlins have it for us today. And so if I just wrap through the markets, and at some point we should be able to cross to Stanbic IBTC. The banking sector was really good yesterday. It went up about 1.75%. And top gainers across on the day included the likes of UBA Capital, like I mentioned earlier. Cornerstone Insurance was up 8%. So the insurance sector is one that I think a lot of people will begin to focus on going forward. We're expecting numbers from that sector in a little bit. Really delayed numbers. So far, we've only seen numbers from Mansard and one other insurer, but hopefully we would get, we'll hear those numbers, and perhaps we'll give that sector a little bit of a boost. All right, well, let's check out West African markets, and hopefully we can get that line to Muyiwa in a little bit. All right, we do have that line sorted too. Stanbic IBTC and Muyiwa is standing by. Muyiwa, thank you for joining us. And I really wanted to talk about the banking sector and particularly Access Bank. They have talked about a new strategy, and I want to review that with you. Your thoughts. Many people argue that nothing new per se was discussed earlier this week, but then I think one thing that they did emphasize was the retail banking play. So your thoughts on Access Bank making a major move into the retail banking space?
I believe that will be an interesting one and could be a game changer for Access Bank going forward. And the reality is that the acquisition of Intercontinental Bank obviously gave it a larger platform. So in terms of number of customers, it currently has 6.5 million, which is the third largest within our coverage space. And I think the opportunity really is there to mine those customers. But I'll say at the moment, I'll say one, is still early days. And the reality is that majority of those customers, you could argue that they're dormant accounts. So it will take some time before Access Bank will be able to make those accounts active. But it obviously creates an opportunity for Access Bank to reduce its cost of funding, which currently, in my view, is a limiting factor to unlocking that potential and playing a meaningful position among the Tier 1 banks. Okay,
so hopefully this brings down their cost of funds. But let's talk about why the retail banking experience that we're seeing in Nigeria is not like we've seen perhaps in Kenya. Let's talk about some of the infrastructure challenges that that have stopped banks from doing the type of things that the likes of Equity Bank have done in Kenya.
Yeah, the Nigerian banking environment is, I would say, still structurally challenged, especially around the retail banking space. And I think the one key challenge we have right now is an ID system. And so, because we still don't have a unified ID system yet, it's still difficult for banks to really know the number of customers within the banking space. So right now, even though we know there are roughly around 30 million accounts, but we don't know actually how many customers those are. And I think it also helps so even though we also do have a credit bureau system right now, so what I'm really talking about is credit lending to the retail space. And so even though we have 3 credit bureau systems right now, but because we don't have a unified database or ID system, that creates some form of challenge because you can have multiple IDs under different names.
Right.
But I would say that is sorted out. That creates an opportunity. And as I am aware, the banking system is actually working on creating a unified database and biometric data for customers. So I think if that is done, that obviously creates an opportunity for retail lending in the Nigerian banking sector. But that said, there's still a few banks I would say seem to be pushing through despite the current challenges we have. So Diamond Bank, for example, seems to be creating some opportunity in the retail banking space, and that has had a very positive impact on its cost of funding. So even though the credit exposure to retail is still about 9% of its total loan book, but it's created some positive impact on its liabilities position as well. So I think So I think as long as the bank can develop on these current opportunities, given the limited challenges we have, we could see bigger opportunities in that space.